As many of you guys did see, just a couple of days ago, Fallout 76 got a pretty big update. I made a full video looking at what exactly it adds in, but also my personal opinions and reception of it. Following most of these major updates, there's a lot of additional news to come out. We got this week's Inside the Vault article. There's actually a secondary kind of hotfix maintenance update that went live a couple of days after, and a ton of other stuff that has just been found by players or data mined and leaked with this new addition to the game. So there's a lot to go over in this video and a lot of interesting stuff to look at. So starting first with some updates around these vault raids from Bethesda themselves. Initially when the vault raids were released, it was a PC exclusive as kind of a live beta of sorts. They were testing things out to make sure this new instancing technology, which we really haven't seen before, was actually stable and functioning correctly on a wide scale. And this is actually pretty notable or something to keep an eye on, as this instancing technology will be used later on pretty heavily for Wastelanders. And considering the fact that it actually seemed to work pretty well. As I mentioned in my video, the vault raids have some serious issues, but most of that comes from existing Fallout 76 bugs or glitches, and the instancing part in particular didn't have a lot of issues around it. So as a result of that, just yesterday they did set these to go live on console, so if you're on Xbox One or PS4, you should be able to access the vault raids now. In the 48 hours or so since release, a lot of additional resources have been posted online around this, which I'll go into in this video, what kind of rewards you can get. There's actually a layout going around for the reactor section, which is proven to probably be the most difficult or frustrating. The layout helps, but it's still not a perfect fix, and it actually kind of needs a key or something to make it a little bit more useful, but hey, better than nothing. Bethesda also does report they're still investigating some of the existing bug reports that have popped up around this new experience, although they also do take time to actually respond to some of the major complaints or concerns around this. Two of the big ones to pop up was how the NPCs in these vaults weren't actually giving a lot of experience. Killing a level 80 or even a level 100 probably should give you a bit more than just 10 to 20 experience. That is very, very low, and obviously quite a bit different than what you see in the wild outside of the vaults. They basically say that since it's wave-based combat, per kill experience is lower, but you should get a bigger experience payout once you actually complete the vault. They also have recognized that even though there is a guaranteed legendary spawn at the end in this little chest, some users are getting non-legendary items in there, such as drills, and this is something they're looking into and should be fixed in the future. And then one of the other big complaints I mentioned is around display cases, also added in this update. When you actually set an item to be displayed in your display case, that will require part of your camp budget, which if you're an active builder in this game is pretty sought after. There's not a ton of it going around, and there is a consistent addition of new items to place in your camp, but not an increase in the camp budget, or there really hasn't been for a while now. Bethesda basically just says this has to be this way because it'll have a potential negative impact on game client performance, but in the future that they're going to be looking for ways to make adjustments, so hopefully we get a little bit more camp budget, or to reduce the cost of display cases. So overall, it's more of like, hey, we hear you're complaining, we hear you're unhappy about these things, but we can't really do anything, or we're not going to do anything for these reasons. Just some additional details around these vault raids, because not all of it is super clear, and some of it is made a lot more clear through data mining. For the Vault 94 clear on Novus mode, you'll be able to earn 2 Vault 94 steel, but not any plans or any of the exclusive items. On the standard mode, you're going to get 4 steel, which is obviously quite a bit better, and you'll also have access to all of the various plans that you could potentially get here. So there are 3 separate sets right now, 2 armor and 1 power armor, each having their own unique set bonus if you have all of the pieces equipped at once. You can earn all of these plans again, either on the standard or expert mode. If you're just trying to farm out some of these plans, you don't have to complete expert necessarily. You get the Strangler Heart version, which is the power armor. This will add acid damage to all armed attacks, as well as nearby enemies will take acid damage. This is without a doubt the most powerful, but also the most expensive by far. You get the Solar set, which is just going to be a regular armor. This will make it so your health regenerates for you and nearby teammates if your health is above 60%. And then the last regular armor, that with Thorn, this will make it so your melee attacks cause bleed damage, you're harder to detect while sneaking, and people that attack you also get bleed. If you craft either of these armor types, you're basically just going to get a random roll of 3 legendary effects. So you're kind of taking a shot in the dark as to whether or not you'll get 3 good legendary effects or bad ones, but you'll have the guaranteed set bonus if you have all of the pieces. With the power armor, you are just getting the set bonus, there's still no legendary power armor. But then separately, taking a look at the differences in between standard and expert mode, on expert you'll actually earn 6 Vault 94 steel, which again, you will definitely want, especially if you want that power armor, but you'll also have the opportunity to earn the Vault 94 Scout Armor Mask. So you technically don't need this to get the set bonus, but if you technically want the complete set, you're going to need this one. It's identical to the other Scout Armor Mask, it just looks a little bit different, having a slightly modified camo. Outside of that, Fallout 76 also went down for some maintenance, as I mentioned. Not too much is actually known explicitly about what was modified or improved here. They mentioned stability. I haven't noticed huge stability improvements. They may have tweaked some of the issues with nukes causing crashing, although it's not totally clear if that's been totally absolved or if it's just better than it was previously. But one of the other things that has been data mined or leaked that we know is on the way is actually details around Vault 96. This is one of those ones though that you definitely want to take with a grain of salt. We've known for a while that we're getting vault raids with Vault 94 and Vault 96. At QuakeCon, Bethesda basically described they're going to release Vault 94 first, and then a couple of weeks or months later, Vault 96 will come out also. But they're really focusing on some of the feedback they'll get from Vault 94, hoping to implement that with Vault 96. So even though it seems like some additional work has gone on with Vault 96, who knows how much of this will remain or how much of it ends up getting changed. So it seems like, based off what we see in the files right now, Vault 96 will have 2 separate scenarios, similar to how Vault 94 right now has 3 separate scenarios. We got one this week, and then we'll get another next week, and then a third the week after. The Vault 96 scenarios are Creature Feature and Gone Viral. Based off what we know from the Vault 96 lore thus far, and even just some people getting inside of the vaults, it was basically a vault tasked with storing and obviously freezing fauna, aka different creatures, and trying to preserve them to be released after the bombs dropped. So all the creatures wouldn't be wiped out, and that would just be it. So naturally, as a byproduct of that, you're going to see a lot of creature-focused gameplay elements. One such one being, it seems like right now, enemies could actually get mutations. How exactly this mechanic will work isn't clear, but you'll see some different things. Flaming enemies, explosive enemies, freezing enemies, invisible or teleporting enemies. But seemingly, the syringers that could actually be found in this vault can be used to suppress some of these mutations, making them just more traditional enemies. It also looks like some of the other enemies from Fallout 76 will actually have new and additional kind of prefixes and effects on them in general. Maybe you'll encounter a poisonous honeybeast or a venomous bloatfly. Again though, this is still pretty early on. Bethesda is likely going to be adding further updates to this vault, but just speaking broadly by looking at some of the recently updated files, some new work has definitely been completed on Vault 96. And personally, that gameplay mechanic actually sounds pretty fun. I think not too many people like the puzzle aspect of Vault 94, and I honestly would kind of love to see a horde-esque mode in Vault 96, where the focus is actually on the creatures, not on trying to fix the vault. Maybe just waves of enemies of increasing difficulty, with the occasional boss that is a legendary. Outside of that, Bethesda also does describe how more limited time community events are on the way. The legendary vendor is going to have another sale starting on Thursday, August 29th to Tuesday, September 3rd. This will be another great way to kind of buy a bunch of legendary items right before the next vault raid does release. But it also looks like they're finally adding in the mystery pick option at the legendary vendor. They mentioned this is just going to be a limited time event where more or less you're going to be able to just get one random 3-star legendary item. If you guys think back all the way to when the legendary purveyor was originally revealed, this was actually shown as one of the options on that menu. But upon release, this was removed, and even though it's remained in the files, we haven't seen any introduction of it thus far. But similar to these sales, it seems like it'll be something else that's added on occasion that we can gain access to for a limited time. It's not totally clear if this is related, but in the files of Fallout 76 from this latest update, you could actually find these legendary item boxes that seemingly are mystery boxes, or at least labeled as so. More or less, these are labeled as having a 1-star, 2-star, and 3-star variant, so I assume where this will be implemented is as you actually hover that item, the mystery pick in the shop. These boxes look fairly similar to some of the other boxes we already see there, but it's not totally clear if this is connected to what we see in the Inside the Vault article. These could be 2 totally separate mechanics. They also do mention how come this September, there's going to be a double experience event for Nuclear Winter, which is something new that we haven't quite seen yet. One thing that isn't as positive that has recently popped up around Bethesda and their teasing of some of these DLCs is actually how sometimes, and not even all that rarely, they'll tease content that isn't in the game and still hasn't been added to the game. Take for example the Marine Armor Helmet. It was in one of the teaser images for these new vault raids. Seemingly a dev probably just spawned it in on his character to complete the set he was already using, but still, as of yet, you can't earn the Marine Armor Helmet in Fallout 76, or at least not in the adventure mode, unless you got it from something like a dev room. The same thing happened quite a while ago, except with that diving suit that we saw also from Fallout 4. It was shared in the promotional imagery of the burrows. It's a cool armor, and I actually talked about in a video how, oh cool, it looks like this armor will be with the burrows, maybe as a reward or something. Naturally, the burrows came out quite a few months ago now. This armor still has never been added to the game. Bethesda hasn't officially really responded to this. One of the community managers actually discussed how if you have the marine armor helmet and you did get it from a dev room or traded for it with someone that did get it from a dev room, they weren't actively going to remove that from you, at least as of right now, but there also aren't any current plans as of July 16th to actually add the item into the game. As an effect of this, you could kind of just get the helmet on PC. People stole it from the dev room, it was duplicated, and now it's not super rare. It's definitely not common though, but it still is just kind of weird. Why are they showing off some of these armors in promotional imagery and then just never adding them? Especially something as specific as the marine armor helmet of all things. You can get the rest of the set, but the helmet has no plans of being added. This is one that I honestly don't have a great explanation for one way or the other, and it really just leaves me scratching my head. But speaking of new content coming to Fallout 76, one final point to look at in this video are actually new and upcoming things coming to the Atomic Shop. One thing I actually want to point out that has recently popped up is this Sten gun. If you're not familiar, this is basically just a Sten. There's some mods adding it into Fallout 4. You've probably seen it in a lot of other video games. A recent popular Reddit post have posited how this was added in Fallout 76, or how it was found in the files. A lot of people got super excited around this. This was posted after the patch, and I wouldn't be shocked if it was someone data mining the new patch that happened to stumble upon this. The Sten, or how it's otherwise known in Fallout 76, the Black Knight, has actually been here since release. We don't know a ton about this. It actually does look pretty cool. It seems to be new to Fallout 76. It wasn't in Fallout 4, but as of yet, even though it's been around for many months, seemingly since again release of the game, there's been no usage of this. It's labeled as an Atomic Shop item, just ATX_Sten, but it's not like this just came out or was just added. There's been some slight updates around fridges in the files. Another thing I've been seeing discussed, fridges, as it seems, will actually keep your food and drinks fresh for longer, reducing spoilage rate on food and drink items by 50%. These are also labeled as part of the Atomic Shop, but I think what's likely here is you'll get the base fridge for free. They're just going to use the Atomic Shop as a means of distribution, but then skins will cost money. They've done this for a variety of other items, and I can't imagine they're going to start charging for fridges. That seems like it would definitely be one step too far. But then finally, for some of the other new stuff, even though we have seen a ton of Raider stuff with this most recent update, there's actually seemingly a lot more coming on the way. This really awesome looking gas mask, as well as it having many different variants or modifications, some additional imagery of some of this older Raider stuff that we saw in the last update, but got more images added, so seemingly pending for a sooner release. A ton of player icons were added to the Atomic Shop, and a lot of them are actually really interesting as they're from older Fallouts and pretty iconic screenshots from older Fallouts. These actually look pretty cool, and I think a lot of people will be buying these for the nostalgia alone. There's also some from Fallout 76 trailers, also pretty iconic and pretty memorable. There's this little Vault Boy statue that just looks hilarious, and a variety of other skins that'll probably come in one of these future updates. Unfortunately, a lot of the stuff recently has been fairly overpriced. It's still a little bit out of my price range, but at the very least, a lot of it still looks really, really cool. Content I wish we were getting for free in game. I do understand they have to monetize it, but at the same time, it looks awesome. And if you actually compare some of these Atomic Shop skins to even some of the free skins, it definitely seems like the A grade stuff is going to the Atomic Shop, where the B tier stuff is coming for free. Either way, taking it all together, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this one. As always, again, I thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. But with that, I hope to see you all next time. Later.
I think we still have some time, like maybe 30 more seconds.